So Juan, tell me a little bit about you.
Hi, my name is Juan Baret. I'm an immigrant to the United States. I'm originally from Dominican Republic. As a lot of people know, a lot of baseball players come from there. And I grew up also, when I immigrated to the United States, I grew up in the South Bronx. So imagine, not knowing any English, getting to the deep South Bronx. You know, so there's some challenges there, not knowing the language, being an immigrant, but there was also some blessings. Many blessings is I was reunited with my dad, and my dad was crazy about baseball. That's
Mm.
all he knew. He knew hard work and he knew baseball, and he loved God. So with that foundation, he instilled a game in me from early on. From like when I was 9 years old, he got disabled, so he couldn't work anymore. So he said, let's take you to the park from
Okay.
8 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. And I was able to catch up, on the game, on how to play the game. I was fortunate enough to grow up right next to Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium. So I
Wow.
was able to witness a lot of games there. And again, I was fortunate because I didn't have any money to go to the games, but somehow, I think God would tell me, hey, go down there and you're going to go to the game. And every day I would go down there and somebody was there waiting for me with a ticket, and it's a complete stranger. I would
Wow.
go there. I just walk by faith. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be in the streets. I either go to the baseball field or I go to the baseball game. And that's how I lived. I grew up, baseball in my life. And I also knew other things too, other than baseball.
Mhm.
Service. My mom, ever since from the Dominican Republic, she was a community leader. She got her college degree when she was in the 50s, but she was a teacher, and was she founded the first school in our barrio.
Wow.
So she was doing a lot of community service, so I knew service as well. And also, I like to make stuff. From Dominican Republic, I like to make things with my hands.
Hmm.
I like to build things. I always say I want to be an engineer. I want to build things. So when I got to high school, I went to the Air Force Junior ROTC program. And when I did that program, it gave me an opportunity to go to the United States Air Force. And guess what I did in the Air Force? I was able to do my service. I was able to build stuff because I became an engineering craftsman in the civil engineering squadron. And the civil engineering squadron, they're known for building things for the military. Help build airfields. I went to a humanitarian mission in El Salvador. We built a base camp to help people. I love that. And I built to help the military, and I really take pride in that. So in addition to that, I play baseball in the Air Force. And in Hawaii in particular, I was stationed there. I played all year round with the Air Force team. So I was able to do all three things I wanted to do in life. I was able to serve, make things, and serve other and play baseball. So I served nine years in the Air Force. I deployed to Kuwait, and I went Saudi Arabia in support of Iraqi freedom, enduring freedom, humanitarian missions in the Middle East. I mean, pretty much everything that I wanted to do, I did it in the military. And then the most important thing that I really got out of it is the camaraderie and the
Hmm.
friendships I created. That's really the thing I really miss the most about the military, is just the friendships that I still have to this day. And programs like what you're doing, Veterans Grow Virginia, I really like it because it brings that camaraderie back. It brings that big memories, and I really appreciate that opportunity to come back. And so after I left the military, I got my college degree in engineering technology, and I got a job with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And I've been working with them. That's my day job. I work full time with them, and I help build construction projects for the military. And also in emergencies, I'm available to help. Whenever the country needs me, I really take pride in that. Uh, I took a mission while in the Corps of Engineers to Afghanistan. I deployed again. People were
Hmm.
telling me I was crazy to deploy as a civilian. You don't have to do it. But again, I saw a need to do that, to help the military, help the mission in Afghanistan, and I spent 6 months there. And due to the military, I was having back issues due to injuries while in service. But while I was in Afghanistan, I feel healthy again. I was exercising, I was having fun. And when I came back, having a young family of small children and young wife, I wanted to get back into the game. I wanted to, that's the number one hobby I wanted to do. I wanted to play baseball. But unfortunately, like the first practice I had, my back problems came right out like this. Just maybe it was maybe nerves or muscle tension or just my body wasn't responding. I was already 33 years old. My mind was already, I was 20 something, but my body was not responding well. So I play a couple games, and I always had the mindset that I find a positive out of a negative. So I say, okay, well, I can't play the game. That's all I know. And to be honest, I was depressed. I didn't know what to do. Cause that's all I did, and I was depressed. But then, I was like, you know what? Maybe there's something. This challenge is gonna get something out of me that I need to do. So it allowed me to step back and reconnect it to my making abilities, my I guess my artist in me or my creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna play one more game this year. It took a month off, and I decided I was going to play one game, and it was a special game in Cooperstown, New York, the home birth of baseball. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to my chiropractor. I'm going to rest. I'm not even going to take any swings. But during this time, I'm going to rest, and I'm also going to try to fix some bats that I had. I don't know if you're familiar with baseball, but wood bats, they break when you use them. If you see it on TV. So some of the bats that I had used in the season from other companies, they broke. But I remember when my dad, when I was younger, I couldn't afford any bats. He would tape them up, he would glue them, he would fix them, and I would use them again. So I decided to do the same thing because I didn't want to buy any more bats. They were really expensive. And at the same time, I wanted to be creative. I wanted to see if I could do it. So I used these bats, glued them together, painted them, put my name on it with a marker. I mean, very, very, very rusty. You know what? I glued them together and I went back to the game. I was able to go and I was able to get 2 hits, solid hits too. Like I felt like I was myself again when I was in my 20s. And at that moment on, like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna decide, okay, how am I gonna make a bat from scratch? And it's a challenge because big companies like Louisville Slugger and Rawlings, and they have big machinery and have like over 100 years experience. So I say, okay, well, I can't really put a big computerized machine in my basement. The house I lived on had a small laundry room, maybe 8 by 12. So I asked myself, how did Babe Ruth get his bat done? How did Hank Aaron, how did these guys get bats back 100 years ago? They didn't have no computerized machinery. So I saw that a craftsman would make their bats in a wooden lathe. A wooden lathe is a machine. I don't know if you can see it in the back. That's my lathe right there.
Gotcha.
But it was all made by hand using a lathe that would spin the wood and you cut it. I had no idea how to do it, so I said, I'm gonna figure it out. Let's just the military mindset, figure things out. So I read books. I love to read. I love to watch videos. I like to visualize things. So I studied that for a few months, and after a couple months, I made my first bat, and I gave it to my kids, and I still have that bat. The second bat I made, I made it for myself, and I used it the same day. And the third bat I made, I sent it to a friend, a junior high school friend from New York. He played in the baseball team. I sent it to him for free, and he used it for like a couple of years, and his friends liked it, and they started ordering. And that's when I started getting my first orders. And then came now I said, I'm gonna make a business out of this. And honestly, even though I went to school, I have an MBA, but it's a lot different than, books to actually doing it. And I've been doing it for 7 years now, and I'm still learning every day. And in starting the business, I realized, I need to get more serious about it. I need a business plan, I need a website and all this. But you know what? At that moment, I just focused on selling. Let me sell it, and let me improve the product. From that moment on, I started selling, making improvements. And even from the beginning, I realized I need to make a high quality product. And I started learning how to source the best wood possible, create relationships with lumber mills that provide the best wood possible, learn about the wood, get feedback from customers, improve the product. I'm always, every day, constantly improving my own skills. And then I come to realize that the skills needed to be a good entrepreneur required you to be a better person.
Mm.
So from that moment on, I discovered, my mom was always into personal development. She always told me about the law of attraction, all this and that. But I was just, I was young and knew everything, right? So I started learning about personal development. And then at the same time, as I got better as a person, my entrepreneurship got better. So I became a better person. So in order to be an entrepreneur, you got to become better at managing your time, knowing yourself, being a better husband, being a better family man, I actually got better at my regular job with the Corps of Engineers because I became more assertive, more valuable, more knowledgeable. And that translated to my regular job. And even my regular job performance went up. Even though I was doing pretty good, I even went better, way better. So I realized that that was the key, and I kept going. So going back, so that's and that gave me an opportunity to get back to go back to all my life I've been giving back to the military, to my family. Now I'm giving back to other baseball players,
Right.
that want to get better. Because one thing I realized is that amateur baseball players didn't get the professional treatment that the pros will get. A professional will get a custom made back to his or her specific swing, which will make them perform better.
Right.
Amateurs didn't get that. They will get whatever you get at the rack at the store, which is a mass-produced product made for the masses. Some of them are good, but it's not tailored to the person. That's it. Now, I could talk one-on-one with each customer, have that relationship, and provide the community a bat maker that the local ball player, the local high school player, the little leaguer could come to me, or even the amateur player that could come to me and say, hey, can you make me a bat? I'm having a problem. Like I had one guy, like he was probably in his 40s or 50s. He wanted to keep playing baseball. He had a problem with his hands. He couldn't really grip the bat, but I still want to play. So I made him an extra thick handle. If he was to go to the store, he would not be able to play. So I made him an extra thick handle, and he was able to play baseball. And he would send me videos and say, hey, look at me hitting. I had a 75-year-old baseball player, making bats. I had kids as young as my son was the youngest customer. He was 2 years old. He had a wooden bat. So that's the essence. I want to get back. And from there, so I make each bat by hand. I also learned to outsource some of the production for future products. So I have baseball gloves as well.
Okay.
I learned I'm still learning how to do importing. So I realized I couldn't make the gloves myself. So I teamed up with a manufacturer overseas in Taiwan. Been doing it for 40 years. And they make gloves for the top companies in the game. And their quality is top notch. So I was able to actually expand my business that way by learning importing. And the quality of the glove was so great that I sent it to Major League Baseball players, and one of them decided to use it in the season last year.
Get out of here.
My gloves have been used in the major leagues. I have a couple of minor league players that I signed to endorsement. They use it and they say, this is a great glove. They used it in high school, amateurs, and that's the foundation. So it's a step ladder. You learn one thing and you go to the next. So that's where I'm at now. So 7 years later, I'm still trying to figure it out, trying to I guess, grow it in a way. But at the same time, grow it in a way that, because I can't really leave my regular day job,
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing what I'm doing with the Corps of Engineers. And also I invested 20 some years in it. So it's like, you can't just walk away from that,
No, it's you have an amazing story in so many different ways. I mean, I go back to the part where you said that you were taking broken bats and putting them back together, and then using them, but that would be, someone else's garbage, but you turned it into, something that you can use and have fun with. And
Yeah.
so it seems like, in your life that you took your passion and made it a business. And I just want to ask you one question. Have you ever worked a day in your life? Because it seems like you've done nothing but have fun.
Well, I asked this, I don't know, like when I'm here in this shop, maybe sometimes it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I make a bat and it doesn't turn out right. Like I ask myself, I'm not having too much fun then, to be honest. And then I have to get up next day to go to work.
Right,
And then I kind of reflect afterwards, well, you know what? I could have been doing something else. At least I was making a bat,
right,
At least
right,
I'm not like a doctor or somebody that I didn't have nobody's life in the hands. At least I was making a bat, It wasn't like, like a doctor, like a surgeon. If they make a mistake, that's somebody's life. At least if
right.
I made a mistake, it was a bat. So yes, I am having fun, but honestly, sometimes I do. It does wear on me, especially with family obligations and everything, and like human, like everybody else. Sometimes I want to quit. Like, hey, why am I doing this? Because
Exactly. And you're saying that, it leads me to a question. So what business advice would you give yourself if, let's say, you were able to go back to that young guy that started this business, 7 years ago? What would you tell him about, some advice to yourself?
well, the advice. One question that I learned going to kind of analyze for people to give advice. It's called zero-based thinking. I learned that from Brian Tracy. I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Tracy. He's a
Mhm.
personal development. Zero-based thinking is you ask yourself, knowing what I now know, would I get into it? What I got into it. So now, knowing what I now know, I would probably get to know myself better. That's the advice I would give an entrepreneur. Get to know yourself better. What is your wheelhouse? What are your best at? What do you enjoy the most? Like, and stick to that. And one thing that I struggle with is being myself more, especially in social media. And kind of like I was trying to fit a mold of what other companies were doing.
Mm,
And then I was trying to fit that mold and then realized that I was not competing there because I was trying to be like the big companies.
right,
And guess what? I was getting crushed. So now I'm more confident of who I am and what I produce. I know my wheelhouse. Like, so now I focus on like my story, my products, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, and I stick to what I'm good at and focus on that 100%. And guess what? Now you create your own path.
mm,
So that's what I recommend. Don't now if so don't be like anybody else. Obviously, yeah, you want to copy some good things because some successful people or successful companies, there's some good things, but don't try to be like them
right,
because then you're not going to compete. You're just going to be like everybody in the bunch.
right.
Um, that's what I say. Create your own path.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not competing because you're actually offering a service that they're not offering everyone else, which is, custom bats, that fit people that can't get custom bats.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
and so you've created an avenue for those individuals to improve their game,
Yes.
and actually grow their business. And speaking of that, can you tell my audience how to get in touch with you?
Yes. My website, www.baretbats.com. Yeah, and before I go, I just want to point out that one thing I want to leave the audience with this is that this company is more than just making money for me. I actually created an avenue to give back. I'm able to, at the very least, I give at least 10% of everything that I make back to the community.
Mm,
To Woodbridge Little League, I helped them when I couldn't give them when I started. When I couldn't donate money, I would donate equipment so they can. I would donate equipment to kids. Last year, I was able to actually sponsor them with money. This year, before all this started, I was sponsoring Dale City Little League. My story is going to be featured in the Smithsonian with it's called Play Ball
mhm.
for an exhibition called Play Ball. It's about Latin American communities and how baseball impacted them in a positive way. So my bad's going to be featured there. So I feel like I'm supporting other Latinos and other Hispanics to pursue their dreams, either through the game or whatever they want. I do talks in the local elementary schools on entrepreneurship, especially the schools that are, that they don't think entrepreneurship it's an option for them. I make team bats that I donate to veteran-run charities, and I support them. And I feel that that's fulfilling my goal of giving back. So whatever you do, try to give back as much as you can.
Man, thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to interview you and to learn your story.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, I learned so much in just this time of our interview. So thank you. It's actually helping me reflect, and hopefully, our viewing audience will, take time to just really get to know themselves,
Yes.
and it'll make them a better person, a better father, a better businessman, as you said it most eloquently. So thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate this opportunity, and thank you for putting, growing this camaraderie back again with veterans in the area, and I really appreciate that.
That's exactly what we're. I was going to say trying to do, but that's actually what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is we're actually bringing veterans together in their local community so we can grow each other's businesses, and also grow together and get to know each other. So
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.